play, to assume the attitudes, actions, and discourse of another, especially in a make-believe situation in an effort to understand a different point of view or social interaction. Definition 2. To experiment with or experience a situation or viewpoint by playing a role. How do RPG mechanics in video games help to accomplish this, and do they or do they not hinder it? This is the goal in role-playing. An RPG is to be a role-playing game. How does it help me to understand this role I am to play? Now, today we're going to be discussing not only that, but many other things. So what are RPG mechanics traditionally? Well, it's usually character progression, a class system, that's good, and how you fit into a story. Interaction with that story directly in a way that changes and is meaningful to the world. These are what are most commonly, if not officially, considered to be RPG mechanics. Do they or do they not help to put you into that role? Well, character progression, you get better and you get stronger as the story goes along. Makes sense. Kind of helps, kind of doesn't. Uh, why is everyone telling me it's so dangerous when I can wipe the floor with everyone at level 99? Really depends on the game. This is true in both mediums, whether it be through tabletop or through video games. But in this particular episode, we're going to be focusing on video games. Now, the second is class systems, job systems, whatever you want to call them. These, I feel, definitely do help. While it may limit you to a particular thing, it does help shape the way I view the world. Playing through a game such as Morrowind or Oblivion as a mage as opposed to a warrior or even a thief and assassin is a completely different game being played than that of any of the other classes. How you go about combat, how you go about social interaction, what choices you make to better utilize the tools of your class. Video games as a medium are very interesting. Whereas with tabletop, you have to wait for the DM to describe something and depend completely and solely upon his description whether or not he left things in or out, and roll perception checks as necessary to gather more information. Whereas with a video game, it is there, it is instant, it is now. We immediately see our environment around us and can react to it instantly. This also adds a new level of depth, I feel, because with a tabletop role-playing game, you, not depth, immersion, you must wait your turn. You must wait for the others to think and act and do and roll dice and do math. Whereas with the game, the computer does all the math and you have 6 seconds before that guy punches you in the face. I'm sorry, I meant 2. You're dead because you thought I meant 6. But how is it that we role play in RPGs? What is it that matters to you? For a lot of people, it's meaningful choices. For me, it's how I interact with the world. Game can be a linear line, corridors, but if there's some rooms I can go in and interact with, interesting people to talk to, open world is definitely preferable. And this is something I feel video games as a medium do accomplish very well. Um, because with a guy sitting at the table, you have to wait for that guy to be there, and you don't want to do too much because you feel you'll be rude to the other people at the table. With an RPG, it's just you and the game. You're gonna take your time. You're gonna read all of that text. You're gonna do everything you would do when you're assuming the role of that character if you are immersed in your environment. So, how is it that we role play in RPGs as opposed to just games in general? First off, I'd like to talk about the very first RPG I picked up. I was very young. I didn't even know what an RPG was. It looked cool. I read the back of the box, and I thought it would be awesome. Medieval stuff. I love that. I love History Channel, so I picked up Morrowind. Didn't know what I was in for. Never finished the game. Probably will again. Windows 7 does not like playing it, but I will maybe finish it someday. Not what's important though. I had a great time role playing because it was the first game where I could interact with the world. I could walk up to someone and talk with them, and they'd have things to say, and I could say different things. And there's this really funny persuade system that made them sometimes really, really like me, and then really, really hate me, and then really like me again, and then go back to neutral because I said all the right things. I don't know. I never actually understood it. I didn't understand the RPG mechanics. I didn't really get why I couldn't just hit a button to block. Kind of broke me out the experience, actually, the RPG mechanics, but the world was good. One particular thing in mind, I didn't really even know what my class was, but this Khajiit, I'd never seen anything like that before. No, I'd never seen anything anthropomorphic. And this Khajiit woman in a tavern in one of the towns near where you started, I just wandered into, asked me to steal something for her and mentioned something about the Thieves Guild. I'm like, oh, okay, so you've got friends who do this too. Okay, I want to join your little group. So I did it, and she was really nice, and I didn't even know where the Thieves Guild was. She mentioned a city. I looked at the map, went to the city. It was actually where I was supposed to go before, but I didn't care about that because the guy explaining it wasn't that nice because I was a kid, and that's what mattered to me. But, I went there and joined the Thieves Guild and had an inn, and it was great. I felt like I was in the Thieves Guild. I sucked at sneaking because I was, like, in middle school, but it was awesome. Oblivion. The RPG mechanics didn't bring me out as much. The whole blocking thing actually made me feel like I really was in combat. The persuasion wheel felt like a game. It immediately broke me out and made me do this sort of like meta-gamey thing with the funny facial animations. But yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with that. I loved reading the books. Loved the books. Final Fantasy. We are talking about East and West. Final Fantasy is very interesting to me because I don't feel I actually role play in that game so much as I move through it as if it were a movie. It's a very different way of doing things. Persona is also from the East, and I love Persona. I don't think it's a problem, but more so a difference in my playstyle and that of the East. I just felt like I was being led by the nose for like an hour and a half, and I wasn't allowed to do anything. That is one thing I love about Western games. It's like I can do stuff. And other game and Japanese games, you get immersed in the world through the long dialogue, heavy background and backstory and world building uh, dialogue. Yeah, it immerses me, but I don't really feel like I'm actually that person. I just find myself yelling at the TV, "Why is he doing that? That's dumb. Don't do that. I want you to do this. I'm hitting buttons. Why aren't you doing what I say?" Whereas with Western RPGs, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Stupid happened. Jade Empire, that was actually made by BioWare. They're, to me, very famous for their horrible animations. Hello, I'm here to talk to you. Yeah, always freaked me out. One of the few times where it made sense because they did this number and were more expressive, and it was awesome. Definitely felt like I was in China. Definitely felt like a martial artist the entire game I played through. Definitely felt like I took on the role that I was meant to take on. I felt like I was going on through the adventure. It was pretty linear, but it didn't feel linear because of the open hub worlds and areas. And there was just so many things to touch and read and people to talk to that I didn't even notice I was in a box until I looked at the map and realized I was in a box and didn't care because the box was awesome. What's I really want to talk about is how you role play in non-RPGs because it to me I get a lot of good role play in there. I definitely feel like the character. Halo was very hit and miss with this in certain levels. Halo, yes, Combat Evolved, the original Halo, I roleplayed in that because I was a kid and I was this guy in a green suit of armor called Master Chief, and it was awesome. because they popped me out of cryo, and I had to go see the captain and get a gun. And then the game started. I hated the Marines. Me and my buddies, we hated the Marines. We don't know why. We just did. But we roleplayed the hell out of killing them. Hey, these guys have fought really hard. Don't you think they should get a reward, right? Yeah, they should. Drive off cliff. Bail out last second. Oh no, the Marines died. Gets to end of level. Cortana's like, it's a shame no one else made it. It's a damn shame, Master Chief. It wasn't a damn shame. I definitely got a rise out of spoiler towards the end of the game where Foe Hammer goes down. God, was I pissed about that. Yeah, I went on a rampage with that Warthog. Oh my god, I loved Foe Hammer. She was the only character I cared about. Captain Key's a little, everyone else, no, just Foe Hammer. And Foe Hammer went down. I was pissed. I didn't stop. You weren't supposed to stop, but the other guy was like, dude, you almost fell off the ledge. Come on, you might want to slow down for the turn. He's on the gunner. I'm like, I don't care. I'm getting the hell out of here. We're gonna kick some ass. Ran over everyone. It's great. Another game where I actually felt like the character, not what you'd normally call roleplay, but Star Fox. I was Fox McCloud. I loved that thing, whatever it was called. I can't remember it. But I did use bombs wisely. I really did. Because Peppy told me to, and Peppy was wise and old, and I respected my elders at that age. I hated Slippy. He made me laugh sometimes. I hated Slippy though. Falco was a badass. Loved Falco. Um, yeah, Starwolf was waiting for me one time, and I just let him have it because I wanted to wipe that smug smile off of his face. Um, yeah. Bill. It was one of the middle levels. Bill absolutely wrecked my experience. It was the mothership boss fight. I was flying around, shooting down enemies, doing barrel rolls, because, Peppy told me to do a barrel roll, and I was a little kid, and I'm like, do a barrel roll, yeah. But, yeah, then Bill informed me that, whoa, Fox, you're shooting down our guys, and I realized that the idiots had painted their planes the same color, starships the same color as the other guys. Why would you do that, art department? But there was one non-RPG that came out in recent years that I really role-played. And that was Sleeping Dogs. Because I was Wei Shen, and I was Sun On Yi. And the rules are different for me, because you're a cop, and I'm an undercover cop. The rules are different. I am an officer of the law, but I will take down the Triad. I am Sun On Yi. What I liked about that game, what immersed me in the world, it was just this little cutscene after some minutes. You didn't even have to drive home. It didn't break me out of the experience at all. It just basically recapped the previous conversation through like in-head dialogue, and it just shows Shen waking up, and you just see him degrade over the game, and you can see how this undercover work is affecting his mind through his like just standing still body language and everything. The combat felt so right for a triad game because most of it was melee, and it was like this GTA sandbox thing, whatever. I liked it more than GTA. Uh, Simply put, I felt like Sun On Yi, and I felt like an undercover cop infiltrating the Sun On Yi at the same time, and that was what the character was going through, and I felt that. And I acted accordingly. Adam did it very well too. My best friend, brother, Adam. I remember there's one point where we were capturing someone who'd been a dick the whole game, and we were about to stuff him in a trunk, and all you had to do was hit the button to put him in the trunk, but not Adam. I punched him in the face a good few more times because he had been talking shit about our sister, the in-game sister. Slams his head into a wall, then throws him in the trunk because that's what a gangster would do. And at this point, we didn't believe he cared about being an undercover cop as much. He did, but we did. We were still officers of the law, but we were Sun On Yee. So, in conclusion, I feel that RPG mechanics do not necessarily add to or take away from role playing. I believe that a good, well written story with enough interaction with the world, not to grant the illusion of choice or even choice itself, but that simply lets me understand the mentality of the character I am playing, I will effectively play that mentality without being instructed to directly. They didn't need to tell me how a triad behaved. I saw how all of the triad behaved. I saw how Shen behaved. But next time, we're going to be talking about what to me is the king of all role-playing games as far as video games are concerned. No, it's not Neverwinter Nights 2. It's something where I felt even more in the world. Fable. Take it easy. Think about what I said. Just think about it.